What's up? So, I haven't done a video in just over a week, I think. Yeah, I think just over a week. Basically, it was the end of term in uni, and a lot of work piled up. I had stuff to do, so I didn't really have the time to be making more videos. But now I do. I'm on Christmas break, and I'm back in London, so it's gonna be more videos. It's gonna be fun. Um, I play Yu-Gi-Oh! Like casually. I'm gonna get back into it. I know that um, I I quit, and I am still kind of retired, so to speak. But I do want to get back into it. I'm gonna really get back into it when Necros come out. And as you can see there, it is my default deck. I'm gonna do a deck profile on that in about a week, I think, when the limitations on my channel expire. Because at that point I'll be able to put up a video that is longer than 15 minutes long. And with that, I really just want to go into every individual card choice, discussing everything, why I'm running it, because at that point I'd have done a good bit of testing, even though DN is obviously limited in testing, especially when it comes to OCG stuff, because you will often have times where you just can't get games, and the quality of those games isn't necessarily where you want to be. But it's all I can really do at the moment. I can't really play in real life in any capacity. So I guess that will just involve a fair amount of private testing and uh, just a lot of DN. But I'm starting to formulate ideas about the deck. I'm starting to understand it really well. I don't want to film that profile now because in a week's time, who knows what my build will be like. I could have had some inspirational idea and it will be completely different. So at that point, yeah, I will really want to just go to town discussing everything. But it's coming together now, and that's really what all my testing has been around. I've removed myself from the present TCG meta, but before then, I did get very much into the current TCG meta. So this video will be pertaining to that, looking at a Chaos Shaddoll list. I've seen a couple of lists. I haven't seen the Jeff Jones list. I just heard something about Treeborn Frog being there or something. Because there was a lot of controversy on the net about that. I honestly don't care. Like, he can play what he wants. He is a very good player. But, yeah, I mean, I heard about the general movement towards enemy controller and Denko Sekka, which is very much a pivotal part of this build. This is what I've been using. It's been very good, I would say. It suits, like, I mean, playstyle doesn't really exist, but it suits the way that I like to play. And I think that it's very well balanced and has decent matchups across the board, blah blah blah. So yeah, I will get into it. So start off with 3 Mathematician, obviously just a very good card. It's like Stratos for the deck. And the 1 Felis. The 1 Felis is just to give a bit more value out of Mathematician. There will be times where they'll overcommit and you just go for that Black Rose play. You sometimes where they don't overcommit and you go for an Arcanite play to go into Construct just to clear a field enough for you to really push. Felis is useful, and drawing it isn't the worst thing. I mean, yeah, it sucks, but to have 2 dead draws in a deck in Felis and Black Dragon isn't... What the hell? This can be a separate deck profile, because that is itself a very interesting deck. But yeah, so to have 2 dead draws in Felis and Black Dragon isn't necessarily that bad. But yeah, it is rather useful, and with the inclusion of Ancient Sacred Wyvern in the extra deck as well, late game you can just go like Math Felis, Ancient Pump for game. So you do get value out of Felis, even if it is a bit of a bad card to draw. So you got that. Then I run 2 White Dragon and 1 Black Dragon. The reason why I run 2 White Dragon is because I never really want to double draw it, and while it is a very useful card, I wouldn't say it's a pivotal card. Like, again, it certainly is useful, being a light floater, and just an extra body that you can swing to hit for 17, or sometimes sit on for 18. That 18 defense is quite useful sometimes. Lets you make rank 4 exceed plays and synchro plays, etc. But again, it isn't a pivotal card to the deck, so because of that, I feel like by running 3, I would run the risk of double drawing it more often, which I don't want to do. It is just like, I just want to see the occasional white dragon in my hand, type of thing. So 2 has been fine. Has been more than fine, actually. I think has been pretty great. And the 1 black dragon, just to complement the white dragon. Again, it isn't that bad to draw. It's not as bad to draw as Felis is, but yeah, it's alright. And then in place of the 3rd white dragon, I guess, I run 1 Chaos Sorcerer. The reason why I run the 1 Chaos Sorcerer is because it's useful in the early game when you're pushing for an OTK, in that it can clear annoying threats off the board, potentially just hit for 2-3, but generally you will just be using it to clear something off the board. But it's also very useful late game to remove threats off the board, to give you a clear shot at game, and it's also surprisingly useful mid game. So it kind of just acts as a mid game stabilizer for this deck. If ever you're forced into grind game situations, it is useful to have. So Chaos Sorcerer, I mean, it isn't incredible. It isn't as good in the early game as White Dragon is necessarily, because it's not as easy to summon. However, it is more useful across the span of the whole game, and complements the rest of the Chaos cards quite well in that it running the 1 Chaos Sorcerer over the 3rd White Dragon means that you have more variety in terms of your options. It kind of just slots in between White Dragon, I guess, and BLS. It's somewhere in between in that it helps the early game, but is very potent later on in the game. It's just a decent card, decent monster removal, and it's obviously a dark to contribute to the fusion plays. So it's pretty good. Then Dark Armed and BLS because they're cool. I don't run Eclipse Wyvern because I don't really like it. I wanted to eliminate dead draws as much as possible. And Eclipse Wyvern isn't necessarily a dead draw, but I never felt so pressured to fetch the Dark Armed to make the build more chaos oriented so that I could. So yeah, just between these two mainly, I will see one of them at least quite often, and then Chaos Sorcerer is like a bit of an extension. Like, it isn't a boss monster, but in certain situations it can act as one, and in certain situations can act as just something to throw on the board, like White Dragon is. Then in terms of the Shaddolls, I run 3 Beast, 2 Dragon. I think 2 Dragon is the right number at the moment in the TCG meta. If Clifforts became the best deck, I mean, you wouldn't be playing Shadows if Clifforts were the best deck, but if they were, you would elect to run more than 2 Dragon. But I think 2 Dragon is fine at the moment. 2 Hedgehog, 2 Squamata, and 1 Falco. Again, with this build, I was just trying to eliminate dead draws as much as possible, so I've never really felt the need for a second Falco, even though the second Falco certainly has its uses. Then 2 Denko Sekka, very good, powerful card. Certainly, I think the best standalone card that Konami has printed in a long time. It is a very, good card. And it just has stupid amounts of synergy with this deck. Completely changes the strategy of this deck. It goes from the artifact variant, which is more about simplifying the game state until you get to a point where you can make an OTK push, while with this you just summon Denka, drop everything, try and kill them then and there. Makes the Burning Abyss matchup so much easier, so yeah, it is a very powerful card. Then the one honest, Like, the reason why I run 2 Denko Sekka is because it's a really bad card to double draw. The thing with Honest is, like, Honest complements the rest of the lights, mainly BLS and Denko Sekka. Denko Sekka is kind of weak, so should you fail to OTK in that turn, Sekka becomes something that will be targeted to be killed, and then at that point it's like you don't have as many options to what am I talking about? I don't mean that. I mean that if the Sekka dies, then all their back row becomes live. So you want to keep Sekka on board, which Honest helps with, and Honest plus BLS can just give you occasional shots at game. So Honest is a pretty decent card. Then 3 Shaddoll Fusion, 3 Shaddoll Fusion, 3 Enemy Controller, very good card at the moment, just potent against everything. Complements the Wyverns very well. Just lets you steal something, swing for game. Very good effect. Very good effect. Very good card. I'm tired. 2 MST to help even out the Clifford matchup. I run 2 MST and 3 Shadow Games because I feel like Shadow Games is more versatile in its application. So because of that, I would rather have more Shadow Games should I go first. Because ideally with this deck, I'd go second. But should I go first, then Shadow Games is the more preferable option. And for longer games, Shadow Games is more useful as well. MST is only really for the Clifford matchup, which is a bad matchup for this deck. And Foolish, Super Poly, Allure, and Raigeki. Then 3 Shadow Games and 1 Core. So the extra 3 Construct, 3 Winda, 1 blah blah blah, kind of standard. Armades, Psyhemuth. I mean, I rotate between like Ancient Sacred, Castell, and the second Earth Fusion quite a lot. But the reason why I currently run Ancient Sacred Wyvern is just because, like, if you manage to summon it when you have even just 1 clean shot of your opponent with another monster, be it a Construct or something else, it could very easily just lead to an OTK. It just creates OTK situations out of nowhere. And even should they not die, you have like the 3, 4, even 5k potentially plus beat stick for them to deal with, which can be very daunting. So Ancient Sacred Wyvern is an interesting card that I think is worth running at the moment. Then Arcanite, Black Rose, and Leo. Castell, because there are times where you just want the Castell. And Exciton, because it is kind of necessary to run. Then for the side, 3 Maxi helps against Burning Abyss. Thunder King for the Clifford matchup. 2 Vanity's Fiend, because it is the best. I'm just messing around with 1 creature swap, but it's the idea is like the creature swap and 3 breakthrough is for post Vanity side, which everyone is doing at the moment. So I don't know. I'll just summon a Math, get the plus off it, and then creature swap it to the opponent. Take their Vanity's Fiend, run it over, get another draw or a draw depending on what I send with Mathematician, and then they now have to stare down their own Vanity's Fiend. It can create a huge shift in momentum in those situations. So it's just something I'm messing around with, but could be good. Then 1 MST, 2 Twister for the Curdy Fort matchup. 3 Breakthrough skill, because in my opinion it's the best way to deal with Vanity's Fiend. I think it's superior to Mirror Force. Just because if Breakthrough dies, if they MST it or whatever, or if it doesn't manage to resolve due to Trap Stun or something, then at least you will have it engraved to negate the Vanity's Fiend or Majesty's Fiend or whatever. So Breakthrough skill is very good post side. And then 2 Mistake, just as a floodgate against Cliff Fort. It complements Thunder King quite well, just because they generally won't have enough removal to deal with your removal and Mistake as well. And if Mistake stays on field, it shuts down their deck to quite a large degree, at least enough to buy you a couple turns to kill them with. So Mistake is interesting. It's just something I'm messing around with at the moment. So yeah, this is the deck. Shaddolls has been going quite well, and I'll be doing dual videos when the channel limitation expires, but until then I'll be doing more profiles. Thanks for watching, blah blah blah. See you around.